Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Florida Gambling Boys YouTube channel. It's the wonderful Football Frenzy Show live. We are, as usual, at the Seabreeze Lounge, Palm Harbor, Florida. And I am joined tonight by Super Dave Kreitz. Dave, welcome to the show.
It does exist. I'm back. I am back again.
Yeah, no show last week, guys. Unfortunately, Hurricane Helene came through right up the Gulf of Mexico and did a lot of damage around here. A lot of flooding, especially out in the Barrier Islands, Clearwater Beach, the Dunedin Causeway, Treasure Island, Madeira Beach. They got buried, and there's people still without power down there. I lost power for about 38 hours, but no flooding. I'm on a second floor condo, so we were good. Dave, how about you? Any damage at your house in Palm Harbor?
Sticks and twigs out in the yard, and the power flickered for a second but came right back on. So life's been good. I've been blessed. I still feel for everybody out there.
This area survives a major hurricane, and this was a big ass storm. They said it was like 415 miles wide.
Not only that, that's what the rain was at the Michigan game the Saturday after it passed us on Thursday.
Correct.
So I mean, it caused damage in North Carolina coming up through the Gulf.
So I know you missed us on last Wednesday, and we missed you, but we are back. I just returned with Mark from Reno, Nevada, and we were out there for 6 days, 5 nights. Got a lot of great content. It'll all be coming up here in the next couple days, over the next week. We got roulette videos, blackjack, baccarat, slot videos. We did a Bimini Steakhouse restaurant review. We got all sorts of stuff coming for you guys, so make sure you check it out. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. We're out here toiling away for you guys, trying to bring you the best information and the best content we can.
I ate a bunch of Cheez-Its and hurricane snacks.
That's it, hurricane snacks?
Yeah, while you were out in Vegas.
If the bar had been open, it would have been a hurricane party. But having said that, enough with that garbage. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about, and it's football. We're going to start with college this week, and we're going into week 6 of college football already. It's crazy.
6 of college. Welcome.
Almost halfway there.
Well, welcome to October, baby. It's a whole new season.
Yeah, things change. Now it's all about conference games, and I think the last time we joined you, my picks went. I was 2-2 in college. My dog hit, so I am 4-0 in the year with my underdogs, and I was 1-1 in the pros. Had the Steelers, and the Bucks lost to the Broncos in an embarrassment. But last week, we didn't have picks on air. I got beat up a little bit on Sunday. But thanks to Dave's beloved Detroit Lions, I got everything back plus on Monday night. So can't complain about that. Lions finally look like a real team.
Still got some kinks, but they're on the up. And the scary thing is they're on the up after they were on the up last year.
Yeah, and that offense finally looked like a legit offense that could score with anybody in this league.
It was a game of two different stories. The first half looked like a regular NFL game, and the second half turned into a shootout.
That's it.
And they were able to play both sides of it, and that's what shows me we can play with anybody.
I love that Lions pass rush. I really do. I think it's top 5 in the NFL.
Just wait for everybody to get healthy.
They can get anybody home whenever they want. But we'll get to the pros in a minute. Let's start in college. Real quick, Dave, before we get to a few games that are on the card this week, what was probably the game of the week, or the game of the year last week, Alabama, Georgia. Any thoughts on that? I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was one of the most entertaining games I think we will see all season. Yeah. I can't put one ahead of the other. I'm going to back Texas as the best team in the nation at this point.
I agree with you.
Even without Quinn Ewers. But Alabama and Georgia both showed me they are both deservingly so.
Oh, they're both playoff teams.
To take the best team in the nation. Georgia started slow, Alabama started hot, and Georgia answered. Blew my mind.
I'm thoroughly impressed with this kid, and Alabama produces a lot of wide receivers. This kid, Ryan Williams, he's a 17-year-old freshman, youngest player in college football.
Be 18 in February?
Yeah. And he runs like Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's just electric.
He forgave. He skipped his senior high school year.
Correct, yeah.
And he's playing at that level.
I agree.
Right now.
I agree.
How many teams out there can't get a wide receiver that can do something at 20?
Yeah, juniors, seniors, 22. And this kid's 17. And the only other one I can compare is the kid at Ohio State who's 18. His name slips me at the moment, but he's a stud as well. But we'll talk about Ohio State in a moment. If you notice tonight, good old Midwest Tommy is not with us. He'll be back next week. He's got a work obligation, so Tommy, we miss you.
Worried about Iowa.
Right. All right, let's start with that game, Dave, since you brought it up. Let's start with that game. Is this a classic look-ahead spot for Ohio State? The number's 19.5 at this very moment. Iowa coming into the shoe. Does Iowa look ahead to Oregon next week? All right, excuse me, Ohio State look ahead to Oregon next week?
That's a dangerous thing. Iowa's a dangerous team. Iowa's defense hasn't allowed 90 yards. Hasn't allowed 90 yards on the ground or a single rushing touchdown this season.
Big step up in class, though, this week.
Big step up in class this week, yeah. But it's still Iowa. There's always one of those spoilers. Whether it's a Purdue,
Somewhere
whether
on the
it's
schedule. You're absolutely right.
there's always one in the Big Ten that seems to jump up and nip that top team.
I agree 100%. And buyer beware on this, guys at home watching this. This is a classic look-ahead spot. It's a real thing when you're betting in college. Do they want to pull the starters if it's a blowout? And I mean, the number's 19.5. Do I think Ohio State can cover that? Yeah, I do. But I'm not putting my money on a look-ahead spot like this. But does Iowa just have the offense to compete? Their offense is inept.
They suddenly this year have developed an offense after finally firing Ferentz Jr. But
Yeah.
it seems like the word of the week is sustainable.
Yep.
With some of the stuff we're talking about.
You're right. So it's a no play for me.
It's a play for me.
All right, we'll talk about our picks later, but I'm staying away from the game. If I lean, I'm leaning Ohio State, but I just can't lay 20, in a game like this where Ohio State's got, outside of Michigan, this is their game of the year, having to go out to Autzen Stadium in Oregon. So We'll see what happens, but it's a pass for me. Let's talk about another team that's going to go out west, your beloved Michigan Wolverines, traveling out to Alaskan Airlines Stadium in Washington on the road. The Wolverines are getting 3 points. Now, this isn't last year's Washington team.
No.
We know they lost Penix. We know they lost to Dunzier. They lost some talent on the offensive line. The defense still very good.
Lost their coach.
Yeah, their coach goes to Alabama and the Birds. And does Michigan go on the road? They finally found a little mojo here? They go on the road and they get the victory?
Michigan hasn't lost a road game, I believe, in their past 20 road games versus Big Ten opponents.
This is a little different, though. This is the first time going out west for a Big Ten opponent.
This is different, but I want to bleed similarities to what happened with USC coming to Michigan. We're inept in the passing game. Alex Orji passed for a career-high 86 yards.
Sad. That's pathetic.
86 yards.
That's pathetic. In today's game? Oh.
They play a different style because they have to. Washington has several wide receivers that can do a lot of damage, but Michigan has a tenacious defense. This is going to be a dogfight.
A little play on their words there. A little tenacious defense.
Yeah. Maybe the greatest song.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a stat that Washington outgained Rutgers 521 yards to 299. Still lost.
I know.
Still lost. Will Rogers is 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, is 74.8% completion percentage. Michigan had the look ahead. 2 weeks ago, Michigan was a 9.5-point favorite. Washington's a 2.5-point favorite at this point.
I think it's even up to 3 now.
Possibly.
There's
maybe even
some action
3.5.
coming in on Washington.
Washington was 2 of 12 on third down. If the defense can do what the defense is supposed to do, and they did it early against Minnesota and then let Minnesota back in.
Yeah,
late,
I mean, I was on Minnesota in that game.
It's a very ugly game.
And I thought I was dead to rights at 24-3 and no chance. And
yeah.
The fact that they let them back in that game, I just didn't understand.
If I'm putting money on it, which I'm not, I'm going to say Washington. Home field advantage. because I can't speak it into existence, but it is a birthday wish because it is my birthday. October 5th,
On Saturday?
Michigan goes and pulls one against Washington. Blow the candle out. Michigan's going to beat Washington.
Well, happy flipping birthday, my friend. I think we're going to have a shot of Jaeger maybe on Saturday.
We shall.
Yeah. It's not a play for me. A strong lean to Washington. Just because when you make a team one-dimensional, like Michigan obviously is right now, it just creates such an advantage for the defense that they can stack the line of scrimmage, shut down the run, and they know that Orji can't throw the ball. So, but again, I haven't seen enough impressive work in the body of work from Washington to back them. So it's not a play for me. It really isn't.
And as much as you're going to lean on make them one-dimensional, they played one-dimensional last year. Much more talented team able
Correct.
to do so last year. I believe we can do it again. Still not putting my hard-earned dollars on it.
No, it's a game I'm going to stay away from. It's a night game here in the East Coast, 7:30, so it'll be an
West
enjoyable
Coast.
watch.
Well,
It's not a great card this week. It really is not. There's some decent matchups as we get into conference play. Another one that we're going to look at will be Missouri and Texas A&M. Missouri, a top 10 team, has looked good. Really has not played a difficult schedule so far. A&M's played a few tough games. Is Elko starting to round that defense into form? I think so.
trying to. Not by these numbers so far.
I don't like their quarterback situation. I know they've gone to the backup. I think his last name's Hill. I don't know. This is a short number. I think it's 3. Do I want to back Missouri? Because I think Missouri plays good defense and they have enough offense. But can they go on the road into College Station in the 12th man and handle that crowd? What do you think?
That crowd is tenacious in Texas A&M. Absolutely tenacious. But Texas A&M is 116th right now in the nation in passing. 116th. Granted, as you said, Missouri hasn't played upper tier talent, but they are the 5th pass defense team. On top of that, they're allowing 219 yards to Texas A&M, who hasn't played the greatest talent either.
No, but they've had a few decent games, so we'll see.
I think Missouri's offense is 19th overall.
Yes.
Texas A&M's defense is 52nd overall right now.
Average, middle of the pack.
But I think Missouri has enough balance.
They run the ball. They throw. They can go 250 on each side of the offense.
They can play either side and weather the storm because they have something to prove in the SEC, where A&M.
They want to be a playoff team, and I think they can be. But unfortunately, you got 5 teams to jump in: Texas, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss. Oh, by the way, what a bad loss by Ole Miss against Kentucky last week.
I was going to say, as much as we want to say Ole Miss, did they get exposed or was that just a slip?
And look, we saw Kentucky play Georgia to the nuts a couple of weeks ago, 13-12 in primetime. So, it's not like they were just a sleeping giant here. I mean, Ole Miss knew what they were facing in this, and I think that's a bad loss. But you're talking like 6 teams that have playoff aspirations in the SEC. I don't think the SEC gets 6 teams because the Big Ten's going to probably get 3.
You got it. I don't even know if the Big Ten gets 3.
I think it's got to be between Ohio State, maybe Michigan, maybe Penn State, maybe a USC and Oregon. I mean, there's teams that are those 5 teams as good as the top 5 in the SEC? No. But they're quality teams. And I think
quality, yes, but you still got to let that outside Boise State someone else in.
Well, that's the group of 5, and you still got to take the champion from the ACC. You still got to take the champion from the Big 12. So that's 3 teams right there. That leaves like 9 spots left. And maybe the SEC somehow gets 2 if Miami continues on their run and Clemson continues to play improving football. What if they get 2 from the ACC?
Right.
Now with the group of 5, and I only think the Big 12 gets 1.
Yeah, the Big 12 gets 1.
And that leaves 8 spots left. But if you got 6 possible teams in the SEC, 5 in the Big 10, well, that's 11. That ain't enough spots. And then we're going to hear everybody clamoring, well, now we need 16 teams and not 12.
Wow, that's a whole
Come
nother,
on.
whole
At
other
that point,
conversation
now we're
for
going to
another
start
day.
seeing Villanova get in. Or something. It's just, no, 12's enough. And I don't want to hear any crap. And if you don't like what I'm saying, feel free to leave a comment. I don't really care because 12 is enough. 16's too many. You look at the NCAA basketball tournament, and they went from 64 to 68. Now they want to expand it up to like 82. No, stop!
Well, we can just make the whole college football schedule
A play-in tournament,
yeah,
whatever.
a readout bracket.
Just
call it a
elimination
day.
by week or whatever, yeah. Either way, do you have a play? Do you like the Missouri game or anything like that for one of your picks this week?
The Missouri game, I'm not taking a play on that one. If I were to say anything, just with what Mizzou is doing on a balanced offensive, balanced defensive attack, I'll take them because Texas A&M's 2.5. That just means it's a pick 'em because they're getting home field advantage.
Correct.
So, if I were to throw money down on it, like I'll take the Tigers.
Yeah, it's a play for me. So I'll have
Partially
my
because of the Detroit Tigers. Way to go.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Isn't this a great time of year for sports? Hockey starts next week. Football's in full swing, pro and college. We got the baseball playoffs. NBA players just reported the training camp, and they start in 3.5 weeks. If you're college basketball starts in a month. It's the best time of year to be a sports fan. I love it. Can't get enough of it. Of course, it's more to bet on and can severely deplete your bankroll.
The
but
slips get overwhelming.
It does.
The parlays turn into 20 legs instead of 5.
I stay away from parlays. Although I did hit one. I was down to my. I needed a 3-team money line parlay when I was in Reno because I got my stones kicked in because the Bucks lost to Denver and somehow the Browns lost at home to the Ravens or to the Giants, excuse me. And I just got killed at 1 o'clock. And then I needed a 3-team money line parlay, which I never play parlays. It's hard enough to hit one game, let alone 2 or 3. But I went for the gusto, and I luckily hit a money line parlay with your Lions and the Ravens and the Seahawks. I think $100 3-teamer money line paid like $4.73. It was a nice hit.
Sure.
So it got me half back of what I lost at 1 o'clock.
There you go.
But anyways, let's move on. We're still on college here. An interesting game. It definitely interests me. I don't know if anybody out there in the country. Pittsburgh at North Carolina. An unbelievably surprising start by the Panthers at 4-0, coming off a bye week, traveling to a place that has been a historical house of horrors in Chapel Hill. Steelers are getting great quarterback play with the transfer from Alabama and Eli Holstein. They're running the ball. Their entire offense is transfer portal guys. And Pat Narduzzi is usually all about defense. Doesn't care about offense. Well, Pitt is scoring points. They put up 73 points against Youngstown. I know it's Youngstown State.
Gave up 50.
No, they gave up 21.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's like 73-23 or 73-20. I stopped watching at one
different
point.
game I was thinking of. Sorry.
So they go to Chapel Hill.
Not Youngstown.
They're laying 2.5. There are a few threes out there. If you like the game, buy it at 2.5 before it goes to 3. And there are still enough shops out there with 2.5. Do you have any opinion on this game?
A little bit of notes I got on that is, like you said, Holstein, he's gone over 300 passing yards in the past 3 games.
Yep.
UNC, are they a basketball school? Are they a football school? What is UNC? All I know right now is they have a revolving door at quarterback.
It's bad.
The starter got hurt, and who do we start? very much the Michigan. Who do we start? How do we fix this?
And they do
Quick.
have one of the best running backs in the nation.
They do. But Pitt's playing balanced offensive ball and can go into UNC and easily cover that 2.5.
And I'm taking the Homer blinders. And guys, you've heard me say this before. I don't usually like to bet Pitt Panther games or Pittsburgh Steelers games, but actually this year I've made money on them. Steelers have been great. They're 3-1 against the number. Panthers are 4-0, including road wins at Cincinnati and a big win in the backyard brawl over West Virginia. This is definitely a play for me. And I think you have an idea where I'm leaning to, but we'll get there later on. Any play for you on this game?
I've got a play on this game.
All right, so we'll cover that later. Another game to talk about, and I'm very intrigued about this. I had an opportunity to go to this game on Saturday, but I went to Reno instead of Vegas. Syracuse traveling to a ranked UNLV. When was the last time you could say that? Maybe.
Colin Kaepernick?
Well, Kaepernick went to Nevada.
Oh, that's right.
In Reno. The last good team I can remember at UNLV, non-basketball, would be when Randall Cunningham was the starter with former ESPN
You're showing your age.
personality Kenny Mayne was his backup. I am 50, yes. But just not a great football program. But they are laying. You're going to find 6.5s, and there's some 7s out there. Syracuse traveling across the country for a Friday night game at UNLV. Any thoughts?
I do have a pick on this one. I've got several thoughts on this one. I also have the over/under at 58.5.
Oh, I think this flies over the total.
Yep, I think it flies.
UNLV scored that
way
last
over the
week in their game against who did they play? San Diego State? No, I forget who they played last week. Anyways, they put up like 57, 58 points last week. You got the transfer quarterback from Ohio State that is fitting perfectly with Syracuse.
14 touchdowns so far on the season.
And they're playing a wide open offense there. It's not quite the run and shoot, but it is wide open.
They're making it move. They're making it move, but I will tell you this right now. No team UNLV has has ranked over 68th in total offense.
Kansas,
so UNLV
Kansas is their best victory and their best
best
opponent
victory
on the road.
Still in FBS, less than 68th overall offense. UNLV's pass defense is 88th in the nation. Despite that, Syracuse is going to hang some numbers.
Oh, I think
on
this is either way. I think the winner puts at least 45 on the board, and the losers probably in the 30s. If that gives you any indication which way I'm leaning, we'll talk about that later. But we both have a play on this game, I believe.
I believe so.
Okay. Anything else that tickles your fancy this week in college football?
Just a real quick one because we only got about a minute and change left. The Rutgers and Nebraska game.
I looked at it.
It's an ugly one. I looked at it. I don't know where to go with it. You got a 4-0, a 4-1. Matt Rule, what's he doing? Greg Schiano, what's he doing?
Yeah, no kidding. Schiano's done a nice job rebuilding this team. I can't knock that.
I ain't knocking it. If I had to say it, I'm going to stick with Schiano. I think Rutgers is going to go up.
Better coach.
Been there longer. Yeah. Had a little more time to do it.
Yeah, it's his second tour at Rutgers, and
so,
he's got him going in the right direction.
Right.
I do like Dominic Rioli, the freshman quarterback who was an all-world recruit.
Oh, he's doing fantastic.
Big get for the Nebraska program that doesn't have great passing quarterbacks historically. But again, this is only his 4th or 5th game, and this will probably be the best defense he's played so far because Colorado has no defense, and they lost to Illinois a couple weeks ago, didn't they?
That they did.
Yeah.
But it's also who wants to become relevant in the scrap of the Big Ten.
Yeah, who wants to take the next step?
Yeah.
This is a game you have to win. I'm not playing it, but I think this might be interesting to watch. One more game I'm intrigued about. I don't know if you have any thoughts of it. We did discuss this before the show. Florida State, boy, what has happened to them? 0-4. traveling to Clemson, who seems to have found their offensive mojo. I think Clemson cleans their clock.
Clemson has to clean their clock to save
Lions in the low 20s.
to keep Dabo and Clemson.
Yeah.
They need to make a run. I'm not saying make a playoff berth. They need to make a run over the next 2 years. Otherwise,
He might
Dabo, Dabo could go pro. He could go wherever
He'll
he
have
wants to
offers
go.
wherever he wants to go.
Yeah, but
I
Florida
just
State
don't know what's happened to Florida State offensively. Just so inept.
they lost a lot of people. The offensive line is absolute garbage. Florida State just isn't what they were supposed to be, but how long's it been? I've watched Florida State, Miami do this round robin of who's worth it, and none of them have made
I agree.
a difference.
I just don't know what's happened to DJ Uyunglele. He has just
I
regressed.
never had faith in him.
I mean, he was awful at Clemson start. He had a couple good years at Oregon State. He really did. But he also had a Damian Martinez in the backfield, and he's at Miami now.
But how difficult is it to have a couple good years in the Pac-12 where you can actually go out in the Pac-12 and have a couple good years against
Yeah, and they throw the ball all
Arizona's
over the field out there. So it's not a play. I just think it's an interesting game. And there's a couple other games that are interesting as far as teams traveling across the country. Miami, who's a top 10 team, has to travel all the way out to Cal Berkeley. That's one I'm intrigued by, and I'm intrigued. I think it's a big number, but UCLA for a noontime kickoff traveling to Happy Valley against Penn State.
Big problem. James Franklin will still screw the clock up, but he'll pull that one out.
Lines up to 28 now. I'm not sure I want to lay 28 with James Franklin. Because I watched UCLA 2 weeks ago go into LSU, and I had an in-game bet on LSU. I got them at 19, and they only won by 17. UCLA hung around in Baton Rouge.
They can.
But we'll see. Hey, let's transition to the pros. Before we do that, again, we're at Seabreeze Lounge. Big shout out to the owners, Terry and Karen, for allowing us to do this every Wednesday night. We take over the back room. And, great bar. It's right here in Palm Harbor off US 19. Great bartenders, great food, great drinks. And if you're around here, come check them out. You can always come visit us, and if we're here live, you come watch us. But definitely, big shout out to the Seabreeze Lounge, and Dave works here sometimes as well, so he definitely can speak to what a great place this really is. So that's all I can say about that.
Hometown bar, hometown feel.
That's it.
Can't get past it.
Let's go to the pros, Dave. Before we get into our games and our picks, I got a couple questions I want to throw at you that I think we're both going to have opinions on. So let's start with, what the hell's wrong with Aaron Rodgers in New York? How do you look that bad against the Denver Broncos?
I don't think anything's wrong with Aaron Rodgers at the pros in New York at this time. I truly believe taking away padded practices and diminishing the preseason. Granted, this shouldn't affect Aaron Rodgers because he is such a high-tier veteran, but it has because the time he's spent with the young talent. It's still, September is the new preseason for the true NFL veterans. Looking that bad against the Broncos, I think is...
But his numbers were pedestrian. 24-42 for like 225.
Denver's got a defense. And
I don't think their defense is that good. Do you know what my honest opinion about it is? I think Patrick Surtain Jr., who is hands down to me the best cornerback in football, makes such a difference.
Top 3, top 5.
He's my number one, but he makes such a difference in the game plan. And we saw him when they came into Denver 2 weeks ago, to Tampa 2 weeks ago, and he shut down Mike Evans.
Did the same thing to Garrett Wilson.
And he did it to Wilson last week.
And it frustrated him. But does Saleh have enough?
Well, I think Saleh needs to be fired.
Eventually.
I'm going to go on record, Dave, and God willing, we're still doing this again next year. Bill Belichick coaches one of 3 teams next year, and it ain't the Jets. I think Belichick ends up in Philly,
Jacksonville,
the New York Giants, or the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm going.
A lot of people
Jacksonville
think the Jets.
Jaguars.
I don't see that. I don't see him going to the Jets.
No.
But I just think something's off. Is it coming back from the Achilles injury? I don't know.
No, it's. I think it's just early. I think Garrett Wilson got frustrated by Pat Surtain.
Yeah, he's a
think
young receiver.
I think Denver's defense did more than they expected. It was a letdown. We should be able to walk all over these guys. They're nobody. Who's Bo Nix?
Bo Nix threw for 60 yards and won the flipping game.
Is what it is. Again, this is preseason football in September
Yeah, well.
because nobody spent any time actually playing in a preseason game.
All right, topic number 2. Are the Minnesota Vikings for real? 4-0. And they have run roughshod. They blew out the Texans. They beat a good Niners team at home.
Very injured Niners team at home.
Everybody's got injuries. You got to deal with it.
Lot of top tier injuries to the Niners.
They do.
But
I'm not done.
no
Debo's hurt, and
excuses.
McCaffrey and Bosa. I get it, but they still got a lot. And Purdy is still a pretty damn good quarterback. I don't know if they're for real. Are they a playoff team? Yes.
They're sustainable.
I think
They're playing.
Brian Flores has done a phenomenal job with that defense
They're playing defense.
and
They're playing.
giving multiple licks to teams that they're not expecting.
Yes.
All right, now we got 4 weeks of film.
So we'll see what Sam Darnold can keep up with, and we'll see what that offensive line when they see a little more, some different pressures.
Like last week, they go up
Moving forward.
28-0 in the first half. And yeah, Jordan Love was a little banged up, coming back from an injury, whatever. But then they fall asleep in the second half and don't score until their last drive of the game. They kick the field goal, which wound up being the winning score. Because here come the Packers, and they put up 22 in the second half and made it a game.
We're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of comebacks.
Look at the Lions-Seahawks game. 21-7 at the half, and all of a sudden,
42-29.
yeah, like, okay, it got really scary there
Yeah.
because it turned into a track meet.
Yep.
You're going to see a lot of that, but I feel like we're getting into October football, November
The weather
football.
starts changing.
The game starts changing.
That's it. So you have them as a playoff team.
I have them as a probable wild card team. They're not taking the North.
I just don't see, even if they win the North, whatever, but I think the Lions are still better than them. Those will be 2 fun matchups to watch. But I think they're definitely, the NFC is just
It'll
not
be
that
fun
good.
for me to watch.
I mean, if you look at the NFC right now, can you name 7 real playoff teams? NFC East is a joke. Eagles suck, Cowboys suck. The Skins are the best team in the damn division. The South, are the Saints for real? Or the Bucks for real at 3-1?
The Bucks are for real.
I think they win the division. Falcons are 2-2, and we'll get to the Falcons. And out west, Arizona's back to their 1-3. The Rams are beat up as hell.
Wow, yeah.
Seattle, I think they're a fraud. And you got the Niners.
I don't think so. I think Seattle is a quality team,
Yeah.
but
I don't see them being better than Minnesota. That's basically what in comparison.
down. So I'll go down the stretch. I'll put them both in the wild card, Seattle and Minnesota.
Because there's just lack of good teams and such crappy parity throughout the NFC, yeah, the Seahawks might hang around, but we'll see. Another thing I want to get to, 2 more topics, and then we'll get to our picks, guys. The Miami Dolphins are a freaking mess. The product that they put out Monday night against a winless Titans team, and to lose at home 31-12 was embarrassing. McDaniel can say all he wants, but I got to take responsibility. I got to do a better job coaching. Don't give me the coach speak bullshit, because that's what it was. This team is a mess. Why they haven't gone out and signed Ryan Tannehill, I have no idea.
Why they didn't keep Mike White?
There's another great point. I'm glad you brought that up.
Why they didn't sign Joe Flacco? Why they didn't sign a backup, knowing all of the head injuries and all of the possibilities of tough run Tua. If he would have slid, he might have still ended up with a head injury. But if he would have slid, at least it wouldn't have been so apparent.
Yeah. Tyler
Yeah,
Huntley, not a good quarterback in that Dolphins system. He was serviceable with the Ravens because he fit that team as a mobile quarterback and the way they ran and played a bit of a hybrid offense and everything, putting the ball in the gut of the running back, pull it out, run yourself, or give it to the running back. And when teams suck up on the run, then you try to beat them with a throw.
My biggest question is he a lefty or a righty? Because I honestly don't know. I know Tua's a lefty. And I know the biggest problem if
Huntley's
you
a righty.
So if Huntley's a righty, now you got to
That
flip.
screws up your offensive line.
That screws up the way the ball spins to the wide receiver. It's a different ball.
And I don't care what you say, Tyreek Hill's not healthy. Something's going on with him.
No, I think he's fine. Just doesn't have gimmicky. Nobody's healthy. Blah blah blah. Everybody's a little beat up. This and that. I think he's got maybe something. Nothing major. But Huntley can't get him the ball, and
nothing, but Skylar Thompson is 10 times worse than
can't
than
get
Huntley.
Can't get him the ball either.
No.
Tyreek Hill looks so much healthier when you have somebody who can actually air it out and he can go get it.
He had 2 catches for 3 yards in the first half. Come on, when you have a weapon like him, that's unacceptable. Unacceptable. I would be out there. I'd be burning the phones for Tannehill. Like, come save our season. We'll give you the $5 million you want. Guarantee it. We'll give you a 2-year deal. I don't think I could ever stomach watching another Dolphins game with this team. And Jalen Waddle, give him all that money. He was atrocious on Monday night. Even when Huntley got him the ball, he dropped a clear touchdown.
I think it's a load of frustration with they're that superstar talent. We're the high flying, we're the this, we're the that, and all of a sudden you take that out.
The team needs Tua back. But I've gone on record and I've said Tua should never, ever put a pair of shoulder pads on again. You could retire right now and have what you made your first 2 years, and you get $93 million guaranteed from this contract.
Put him on for a modeling job maybe, but that's about as far as I want to
He
go.
is a pretty boy. But that's $93 million. That's generational wealth. Your kids' will be taken care of. Well, don't you want to grow old and with your wife and raise your kids and coach and play? Come on, man. But they see the allure, $230 million if I go through 5 years.
Well, we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Last topic before we get to our picks, Dave. We got a little saga brewing out in Las Vegas. Davante Adams is not a happy camper, and he has officially asked for a trade. Now, look.
Not the first time I've heard this.
I get that he doesn't have the greatest quarterbacks out there.
They do have a great mullet, though.
That is true.
Kentucky Waterfall lives strong with Gardner Minshew.
That's it. He's a porn star. Do you think Hill gets traded before the deadline, which I believe is week 9 or week 10? And where's the landing spot for him?
I believe he gets traded.
I do as well.
The Raiders want to clear it up. They want to clear it up for draft space as shown by them opting to not trade for a quarterback and stick with the Minshew saga and take Brock Bowers for next season. I think they want draft capital. I think the price is going to be high for Davante Adams, which will make it very difficult for where he's going to go, but I believe Kansas City.
I don't see how the Chiefs can afford him anyway. They have nothing to offer in a sign and trade, and they are up against it on the cap.
Smoke and mirrors and being able to. There are ways around it.
Yeah.
Because the money doesn't count until late, from what I understand. I
think the Jets are a possibility. I know we talked about this earlier.
Clearly with
Rodgers and Adams reunited.
Rodgers, Adams. Hey, you guys want to be friends again?
The Bills are a possibility.
I was going to go with the Bills and just off. I don't know why, and I don't know if it's credible or not. But The Chargers. I could see Jim Harbaugh seeing an opportunity to weaken an opponent.
They have no skill position talent.
No.
Josh Palmer is your number one wide receiver in San Diego.
Lost Mike Williams, lost Keenan Allen. Hey, if we can go move something around, if they can keep it together in the next couple weeks, just off the top of my head, Jim Harbaugh.
That's an interesting. I haven't thought about that. So that's an interesting point, Dave. Is the asking price too much because the Spanos family is notoriously cheap? And do they want to bring him in for that kind of money? Now, him and Herbert would be a nice combination.
It'd be a great combination with what they put together with Dobbins and.
Yeah, and I hear people saying the Steelers. Look, the Steelers are still plenty of money under the cap. They got a lot of people to sign in the upcoming year or two.
Chicago wants them. Cincinnati wants.
But what is Chicago going to do? You got DJ Moore, you got Keenan Allen, you got the rookie in Adunzie.
Anybody wants him. You
One
want him
of those guys, and Moore or Allen is going to say, "No, I want to trade because I'm not getting the ball enough."
I do like Buffalo though, because Buffalo lost Diggs.
Yeah, Gabe Davis.
Lost Gabe Davis.
They really have. They're barren at wide receiver too.
Yeah, I could see Buffalo.
Yeah, I could see that, but obviously the Jets are the most logical, and I think they can swing the trade. I think it would be an obvious thing to do a sign-and trade to sign Hassan Reddick to a deal where he wants and ship him off to Las Vegas.
Put him next to Crosby.
Yeah. With Christian Wilkins, that's a nasty little defense. I mean, Reddick's had double-digit sacks like 6 years in a row between Arizona, Carolina, and Philly. Anyways, those are just some random thoughts in the NFL. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, what you're watching at home to hear us give. And that's our picks of the week. We're going to start in college football. Dave, I'll start with you.
Pick of the week, I alluded to it earlier. I am definitely on the bandwagon. I am ready for Washington to beat Michigan on my birthday. If I'm putting money down.
Wow. I did not expect that from you.
If I have to take a loss, at least I'll make money doing it. Michigan we can't throw the ball. We've got two quarterbacks and a true freshman who we can't even put in the game because apparently he can't throw more than 86 yards. So
yeah.
Washington in a revenge game, over under 40.5. It's gonna get ugly, but we'll screw it up. I'm gonna call it take the under. Washington covers the 2.5. Call it something stupid like 24-17.
Yeah, this is not going to be a shootout.
It's not going to get up there in numbers.
A lot of running the ball.
Yep.
All right, so you're on the Huskies. All right, pick two.
Pick two. I alluded to it earlier. Syracuse going out to UNLV. UNLV had a lot of fodder with what's his name, Sluka.
Oh, the quarterback and the NIL issues.
Yeah, he was like, I'm quitting, and UNLV went out there and just smoked him. Like, you don't have that now. Now you're looking in the mirror. You know what Cuse has? McCord has 14 touchdowns so far.
He's been rock solid.
UNLV has an 88th ranked pass defense.
And you're taking him out of the dome in Syracuse and putting him into a dome in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and Las Vegas relies on.
That's not at Sam Boyd Stadium. It's in Allegiant Field where the Raiders play.
Yeah, Las Vegas relies on the run game, and Syracuse is 37th in the nation in tackles for loss. They unbalance. Cuse goes. I'm going over on that one. Granted, it's 58.5. I think I'm going over on that one. And then your boys, Pitt, UNC.
Yep.
I think Pitt just has a more foundational, sustainable style of play. I haven't seen it from UNC, especially, again, going to the revolving quarterback.
That's a problem when you become one-dimensional.
I'll I'll give Pitt 3. I'll give Pitt 4. Pitt's going to be able to play the game. They're going to cover it. The over's 64.5. I think they're going to make it ugly and go over.
Yeah. I'm definitely with you on my picks. Any dog of the week or anything like that?
No dog of the week.
Okay.
3 NFL games after the college
We'll get to that. I'm with you on Pittsburgh. I'm already got it at 2.5. If you can't get it 2.5, you're going to see 3s. There are still some 2.5 out there. We get it before it goes. I think Pitt will put points up, and I think they will, again, with the Carolina team, that they'll make one-dimensional and they'll stack the box. And yeah, North Carolina can run the football, and they got a great running back. But again, when you can't balance that offense and there's no fear of a quarterback beating you down the field, I'll put 9 in the box. Leave my corners in single coverage. So I'm definitely on Pittsburgh. Secondly, I'm on Missouri. I'll lay the 3 going on the road to what I think is a better defensive team, and I think a more complete offensive team under Coach Odom out there. A&M, again, has not shown me enough, and they're going in 2 quarterbacks, and Hill's been better, but I don't have any faith in them to score points. Yeah, they've got the home field advantage and the 12th man, but I don't think Missouri is going to relent, and I think they go in there and they win it, and they cover the number. So I'll lay the 3 with that. Third game, I'm on the Syracuse game with you as well. My official third pick on that game will be the over of 58.5. And my dog of the week, I'm 4-0 on my dogs so far, kids. And I think Syracuse is a live dog going to be barking going into UNLV. So I'll take it. I'm going to wait and see if I can get a touchdown before kickoff. And if I can only get 6.5, so be it. I think they're a good fit in teasers. And I like Syracuse in a money line parlay, if you're a parlay player, because I think they can go into UNLV and win outright. And if you can get them at probably plus 180 on the money line, it'll make for a nice parlay whenever you fill it with. So
now I will skip in here because
go ahead.
I just looked down and I forgot a couple things I forgot to mention earlier. I'm going to go with a dog of the week. I'm going to take Iowa. Dog of the week.
Really? You're going to take the 19.5?
Give me Iowa to cover. Since the 42-41 college football playoff loss to end the 2022 season,
Yep.
Ohio State has not allowed 17 points to an opposing team, except for Michigan last year. I think Iowa has.
We don't want to talk about that anymore as a Michigan fan. Just erase that from memory bank.
I'm perfectly okay with that. Ohio State will cause Iowa to have to pass late.
They can't do it.
But they can do it better than they have in the past 3 years.
I mean, it doesn't impress me. So I'll give you credit for taking that. That's a ballsy pick.
Yep. I'm gonna go with Iowa. Doesn't win, they cover.
But the one thing I do think is in your favor is the look-ahead factor. How much is Ohio State staring at Oregon next week? And I think that could play a big part and leave the back door wide open for a late touchdown.
Yep.
Ohio State's up 24, and then Iowa scores a late one.
Yep. Just a quick.
That's it.
Gimmick. See you later.
They can lose by 15, 17, whatever. And it's a cover. So that's an interesting pick. So Dave has his dog of the week on Iowa. He's on Pitt. He's on the over in the UNLV game. And what was the other one? Oh, he's on
Washington.
the Huskies.
I can't speak it into existence.
I know. My dog of the week is Syracuse. I am on the over in the UNLV game. I'm on Pittsburgh, and I'm on Missouri. So those are our college picks. Lock them in. Go get your tickets now, and you'll be cashing them on Sunday morning. Let's go to the pros. Dave, you want to start?
Tampa over Atlanta. Real easy. Baker's bacon. Thursday night game. I hate picking divisional games. I love picking against Kirk Cousins when he's not at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, Kirk Cousins. We all know the story about that.
I haven't seen anything from Pitts. I haven't seen anything from Drake London.
I do like Drake London.
I like him. Don't get me wrong. I love him as athletes. But what I have seen is Baker is 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 70.5% completion percentage, 91 of 29. Beat the Lions. He's tenacious. He's got the team behind him. Kirk gives me questions.
I like Baker's mobility. Obviously, Kirk is a sitting duck in the pocket.
Tampa can get after him. That's my first one.
Okay.
New England giving up a point to Miami. Miami has only scored 15 points since Tua Tagovailoa went out. 15 points.
I can't argue with on this pick, and it's tough to stomach because New England's awful. But I think they're
awful.
less awful than the Dolphins. So I would tend to agree with you on this.
I'll take that. It's going to be low scoring. I'll take Brissett to manage the game. I'll let Skylar Thompson or Hundley or
He's a
whoever
better
else they
quarterback
want to
than
throw
whatever
out
Miami
there.
throws out
Screw it up. Yep.
Okay. Game 3.
Baltimore at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's back is against the wall
1-3.
because they got who they beat, the Panthers.
That's it.
Yeah.
34-24.
So the Bengals defense has allowed 26 points per game, 6.4 yards passing per game, or 6.4 yards per pass.
Yeah, the offense finally started clicking last week.
They're 22nd on third down differential, 19th defense in the red zone. And they played Carolina and New England, and they're 1-3.
Yep.
Baltimore is averaging 45.5 more yards per game than the next
I looked
team
at this game.
closest to
I'm
them.
with you. So you're on the Ravens, you're on the Bucks, and you're on the Patriots.
I'm going Cincinnati actually shows out
Or you're taking the Bengals.
at home.
Okay.
The Bengals back against the wall. Burrow's
see it.
got to prove it. This is October. We're out of September ball. First
You lose
week of
this game
October.
at home, they're out. They just write the season off. You're out of it.
You go.
At
That's
1
the
and
question.
4,
At 1-4. At 1-4, 1-5, you're out. 2-4, you're in.
okay. All right. So I can see that.
I don't see Baltimore completely waxing them. I think Joe, they're healthy. They wake up. All of a sudden, Baltimore gets tested by an offense they haven't seen.
I'm with you.
Buffalo's offense, Dallas offense ain't there. This Joe Burrow offense is a different story.
So I'm going to go the other way from you on the Bucks game. I'm going to take the Falcons and lay the 2. I think Bijan Robinson will get outside. You know, the Bucks clog up the middle with Vita Vea, and I think Robinson gets outside. I think Cousins has a good day. So I'll lay the 2 at home. I am going to stay away from the Patriots game, although I looked at it. Not going to play it. What the hell was my other game? We just talked about it. And I can't think of it. Oh, I'm taking the Steelers Sunday night.
Pittsburgh, Dallas.
Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers Sunday night over Dallas. Dallas has shown me nothing. And the Eagles are on a bye this week. Who did the Redskins play this week? I was looking at that.
Second game is what, Carolina? No.
I got a brain fart here, kids. I got no notes in front of me. I'm blind, so every once in a while I forget something.
Happens to the best of them.
It's not Indianapolis. It's Cleveland.
Carolina, Cleveland. Yep. Washington. Washington, Cleveland, in Washington.
I'll take the Redskins. Browns have shown me nothing. They're an embarrassment so far this year. So I'm in the Skins, the Steelers, and the Falcons, unfortunately. But I can't lose either way. I'm rooting for the Bucks, but I don't think they win this game. So that's going to wrap it up. Those are our picks of the week. Tom will be back with us next week. Dave, I thank you for joining the show as always. And good luck to your Huskies this weekend. I'll be watching my Panthers on Saturday.
Fuck the Huskies. My dog hates Huskies, by the way.
I hear you. Hey guys, again, give us a like, give us a subscribe.
Some birthday wish, Michigan wins.
There you go. When you watch us
Not
on
putting
YouTube,
my money on it.
hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and it just helps us grow our channel. We're picking up subscribers every day, and we're getting there. In the meantime, be careful. Responsible gambling. Don't bet over your head. Bet with it. And cash those tickets. Don't trash them. We'll see you next Wednesday from the Seabreeze Lounge in Palm Harbor, Florida. We are the Florida Gambling Boys, and this is the Football Frenzy every Wednesday on YouTube. Right around 7 p.m. we go live every week. Check out the show. Tell a friend. Tell a family member. If they're a football fan, they'll enjoy it. Guys, we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.